What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Winning the Margins podcast with me, your host, Gabriel Rocha. Today, I am extremely honored and privileged to be joined by IFBB Bikini Pro, Martina McKee, otherwise known as MarzMuscles on Instagram. Mars, I've been following you for a while now, and it has been awesome to see kind of your journey go from winning that pro card, seeing this pro season that you just got to go through, and then as you were transitioning into this off season and this growth phase, and also all the exciting things that come with your coaching. I see you traveling basically every weekend. I know you have been pouring so much into all of your athletes. So I'm really excited to talk to you about all things bodybuilding today. But before we actually get into that, I want to give you a chance to let people know where they can find you, if you're taking on any new clients, etc.
So you can find me on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. I need to get back in my YouTube game, which I will, but you can find me on all my platforms just at Mars Muscles, MARZ Muscles. I am taking new prep clients, lifestyle clients, and also posing clients. You can find that in the link in my bio on my Instagram. But yeah, I'm super excited to be here. I'm excited to talk to you about all the things, dive into all the things mental wise and whatever comes of it. So I'm really happy to be here. So thank you for having me on this podcast today.
Absolutely. I'm really excited for this one. Now, I want to kind of take a trip back in time, right? So I know you won your pro card, what was it, back in 2024, 25?
2025, yeah.
2025, right? So
Yeah.
you haven't been a pro for super long yet, but the thing I'm curious about is what was that prep like leading up to winning your pro card? Were you feeling confident? Was there any doubt throughout that prep? How did you manage the different types of mental barriers that a lot of athletes go through as they're getting ready for that pro qualifier?
Yeah, so I'm actually going to take it back a little bit even further than just when I was going for my first or for the prep before I got my pro card. I'm going to go back to my very first prep. My very first show was in 2023. So that was my very first prep ever. And before my very first bodybuilding show that I did was actually my very first bodybuilding show that I ever went to. So I did not, of course, I watched things like I watched the Olympia and everything like that. I had never been there before, never seen pros in person, anything like that. So I did not know technically what like a pro athlete was in bodybuilding, like in person until I went to my very first show. And that prep, that was a hard prep. I always tell everybody like your first prep is always your hardest, just because your mind has never went through that before, your body has never went through that before. So that was like a hard prep, but I like so much adrenaline was going in my veins the entire time. I was so excited that like honestly, I don't even remember any of the hard days in that prep. Um, and then 2024 prep, that was definitely my hardest prep. That was my hardest prep mentally. That was my hardest prep physically, all of the things. And I think it's because I had expectations. And I was like, okay, last year that was my very first time. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't have expectations, but this year I'm getting it. I'm going after it. And then I did two national shows that year. And my first national show was actually Junior USA's. I won my class. But then I went to the overall, and at Junior USA's top four for
Top
bikini,
four.
top four in bikini, yep, get their pro cards. And I instantly got moved to the end. So instantly they were like, nope. And I was like, okay, cool. Well, maybe the next show. So then I went to Junior Nats 2024. Winner of each class gets their pro card there. And I got seventh. So I didn't even get a medal there. And very, I was obviously like upset because I had expectations. So going into my 2025 season, this is something that I actually say all the time. It's like my life motto, no matter whether it's in prep and bodybuilding or just life in general. But now, after that 2024 season, I expect nothing but appreciate everything.
Mm.
And that was my mindset going into 2025. And of course, 2025, because I had already lost so much, that sounds so dramatic. Like, come on, like I just didn't get my pro card. Like, that's not even like, what did I really lose? You know what I'm saying? But because I didn't win the last year, I was like, okay, well, what's the worst to happen? I just get second again, or I get like whatever. So going into 2025, that was definitely my such a good prep. I was in such a good place mentally because I had no expectations. And everything was solid. I was just excited again because I took that pressure off of myself from 2024. And I did a regional show um, in 2025. So I started my season with a regional show. I got second in my class. I didn't win my class, didn't win the overall anything. So I was like, okay, well, going to a national show 6 days later, I was not in the best mindset because I was like, okay, some of these girls who just beat me are going to go there, but I'm going to keep going. So did that national show the next week. I got second in my class again. And when I got second in my class, I was very upset. Anytime I'm upset, like after a show, I'm like, okay, I'm going to give myself 5 minutes to be upset and then I'm dropping it. So I let myself have 5 minutes, and then I told myself, and I actually told one of the people that I was with at that time, I looked at them and I said, I did not win this show because I was meant to go to the next one and win the whole thing. I vividly remember saying those words, and not even in a cocky way at all, because this is bodybuilding. Like, you're going to lose. You know what I mean? But it was just like, I just knew it was happening. And so when I went to Junior Nats, when I went out on stage, I knew I was winning my class. Like, I just had such a strong feeling. I was like, I'm getting my pro card today. Like, I'm not leaving here without it. And then I got my pro card, and then I won the overall that night too. And I genuinely think it's because of my just pure belief in myself, because I was like, I was just so sure of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Man, that is so interesting. I'm really curious to know what changed or what shifted in your mindset from 2024 into 2025, because you talked about how you were able to get rid of those expectations that you had for yourself going into the season, when I think a lot of people almost have the opposite experience, where as they're going through and progressing through their bodybuilding career, obviously the standard for their physique gets higher. They get better, which ends up feeling like there's more pressure to go out and perform and to win. So can you recall what that mindset shift sounded like for you that allowed you to go into that season with lower set of expectations from 2024 to 2025?
Yeah, so the main thing for me was, honestly, I switched coaches. Not that my past coach was bad by any means, but I knew, because my coach is Jamie DeBernard. So she's Fit Body Fusion. She's the owner of Fit Body Fusion, and she is the best bikini coach in the industry. She had 18 bikini Olympians last year. You know what I mean? She's the best there is. And I told myself, I'm going to give this everything, and that's including I'm going to get the best. I said I'm going to have her as my coach. I hired her as my coach. I did every single thing that she said to me. That's just, and I was doing that with my past coach too, but I knew, there's obviously a level to this. You know what I mean? And I was like, I don't just want to be an athlete from her. I want to learn from her and know what I can do to not just be a better athlete, but a better person, a better coach myself, all of these things. And her and Greg, her husband, they are such good people. Like, genuinely, like, I inspire to be them so much. And I think just having them really changed my mindset too, of like, I'm giving it everything. And if that everything isn't enough, okay, I'm going to give it more. And I'm just going to keep going. And so as soon as I hired them, it was like, okay, I'm doing every single thing. And if it's not good enough, then I'm going to keep going, because something that Greg has said to me over and over, and it's something that I now preach to my clients, is win or lose, I'm going to still compete. Like, at the end of the day, this is a hobby. You know what I mean? Like, I'm here to compete, and whether that means first place, second place, or in the sea of 16, like, I'm still going to show up. And so I think really, like, changing my mindset of, like, honestly, the hobby thing, like, hey, this is a hobby. You need to go out there and have fun, and allowing myself to have fun and not put too much pressure on myself like I did in 2024, because I knew if I kept going that way that I wouldn't still compete.
No, it's funny you say that. I've heard nothing but good things about Jamie and Greg. I don't know them personally, but from the people that I have talked to in the industry, when they talk about them, they speak about them with such high regard. What would you say is kind of the secret sauce that allows them to, one, not only have, so many amazing transformations with their clients, but also why do they attract so many high level competitors to their process? Is it the way that they speak to people? Is it the way that they coach? Obviously, the X's and O's, they're most coaches at that high of a level, there isn't much of a difference in protocol in terms of, hey, you need to eat this much chicken and rice and veggies and stuff. But I think that when it comes to the psychology of coaching, being able to tap into your athletes is such a major part of that. So how were they able to do that for you?
Yeah, so the great thing about them, and again, like they also inspire me in my coaching journey and everything like that, is they know that they can always get better. You know what I mean? They aren't like, okay, we're the best, like blah blah blah, we're going to stay here. No, they are constantly looking for ways to get better, and they are constantly looking for that in their athletes and doing things for us, trying new things. And they genuinely, I think honestly, one of the number one things that when it comes to high level coaches, whether that's Jamie and Greg, or whether that's there's so many high level coaches, and there's so many great coaches out there. And the thing that makes a great coach is they actually care. Like they care about their athletes. They don't just care about the winning. Obviously, we all care about the winning. We all want to win, right? And like coaches, like, we want our athletes to win more than they probably want themselves to win. However, caring about like that person, and like if they're going through a hard time and all of those things, like that's genuinely, I think, what separates them, and what separates high level coaches from other coaches. You know what I mean?
When did you start working with them? Was that pre or post winning your pro card?
Pre. I got my pro card with Jamie. I started with Jamie in December of 2024. So I did my whole prep with Jamie. Yep.
Okay. And then now, as you did that first local show or regional show in 2025 to get ready for your run of pro qualifiers, because you did two pro qualifiers to win your pro card in 25, correct?
Correct. Yep.
Right. So, was there ever any doubt in your mind as you were going through that process? Because you didn't win the regional show, you didn't win the first pro qualifier, and obviously there was something that sparked that thought of, I didn't win this show because I'm going to go into the next show next weekend and win the whole thing. So, how did you manage any of the doubt or the lack of self belief going from that first regional show and just marching on through prep that still allowed you to execute at a high level?
I'm going to be honest, and I genuinely say this in like the humblest way possible. I didn't not believe in myself. Like that's not a like that's not a I don't really have, like, even now, like trust me, I am I allowed to cuss on here? I got my ass beat at some of these shows that I did this season, and like still in my mind, like I know I'm going to be up there. Like it's not a doubt in my head. I'm like it's really not the saying that everybody says, but like not an if but a when. Like I know I will be. It's just a matter of time and patience, you know what I mean? So even when I got beat at like that regional show, you know what I mean? I was just like, okay, yeah, these girls are going to be there next week, but that's also 6 days from now. What can I do in these 6 days to be better? What can I do with my presentation? What can I do a little bit differently to possibly be better? And if if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, then my plan was to do every single national show it took. So I already had it in my mind, like I was getting it that year.
Man, that's so inspiring. How does competing in bikini make it difficult at times from a mental standpoint? Because obviously from my perspective, outside looking in, I don't fully understand the judging criteria of bikini, which is why I try to have more bikini competitors on here to kind of explain and walk me through these different things because I'm just naturally
Yeah.
curious. But from what I have gathered, there isn't really a set standard for what you should expect from show to show. Like apparently different judges like different things. And obviously that happens in bodybuilding as well, where, you
Mm.
have some shows that are known to be, hey, you want to come in hard and maybe a little bit flatter, but conditioning is king. And then there's other shows where it's like, hey, you want to come in and be the biggest guy on the stage, even if your conditioning is suffering a little bit. So, does competing in bikini and going through a run of different national shows, can that be mentally challenging at times when you're like, hey, I don't know what the judges are specifically looking for?
Yeah, yeah, no, for sure. And it's also one of those things that like, and it's the same across every single division, but like specifically with bikini and stuff, because there is a set criteria, but everybody fits that criteria differently, and that criteria can look different on each person. Like for example, you look at classic physique, okay, and you look at these national shows, you look at the pro shows, they all kind of look the same, right? They all kind of look the same, very, very similar. Obviously, some differences, like, like Dino's forearms are huge, but like that's a different story. But like, very similar looking physiques. And then you take bikini and everybody kind of looks different, but they all fit the criteria. And it's one of those things that, like, when you go into these national shows and when you go into like even pro level shows, depending on who shows up, you're going to look different. Like, for example, if I try to bring in a leaner package, but everybody else brought in fuller packages, I'm going to look even leaner than I might actually be. Or vice versa. If I come in fuller and everybody else is shredded, I might look way too soft. You know what I mean? So it definitely could be a mind game with that. And then there are judges who, because it is very like subjective, like, you know what I mean? And there are some judges who are very, very big on shape. There's others that are love the muscle aspect. There's some that like a really full package, and there's some that like a harder package. And it really comes down to, like, when I was even doing these national shows, I knew that the judges I was going to, they have judged me my whole career, and I know what they like to see from me. Um, so that's what I brought. And then this year, like even in like the pro league, I got in front of a bunch of different judges and we did different packages each show, because this season was really about data for us to realize like what judges like me and how do they like me. And so when we go into next year, we kind of have an even better game plan.
What package did you settle on that you thought was a blend of both your best and also what the judges would reward? Was it more of a leaner package or was it more of a fuller package?
So right now with my muscle development, I can't, I mean, I can. I don't want to say I can't, but they're going to like me better right now when I'm leaner, because when you're leaner, your muscles pop even more, right? And when I'm fuller, sometimes it looks like I'm too soft. So just right now where I'm at, my best look, in my opinion, actually was my worst placing this year. And that was at Wasatch. I got third call outs at Wasatch out of, I think there was a lot of girls there. I think there was five call outs total. So I got third call outs there. And in my pro debut, I got first call outs. I think I placed sixth or seventh, but that was actually my worst package this season ever. Just because, like, hormones and menstrual cycle, things like that was going on, and just things I can't control as a girl. And then I went to Wasatch. I think that was my best package to date. And then I went to Girl Power, a little bit fuller than that. I liked my package there. But again, I think that just right now with where I'm at muscularity wise, or where I was at in April, leaner was better. But I think next year it's going to be, I think next year will be leaner as well, especially with where bikini is at this year, because of like the addition of fit model and stuff like that. Like bikini is that's a whole different topic, but it's a little bit different. So I think next year is going to be like, I want to get shredded next year, so that's going to be the goal.
Yeah. Man, that's amazing. Now,
Yeah.
I just still want to take it back to the pro qualifier that you won, because I think there's such an important mental aspect of how you manage yourself between not only just approaching prejudging when you have that confidence, but more importantly, how did you keep your mind right in between prejudging and finals when you walk off stage and I'm on right now and I am right in the mix for winning a pro card here. how do you manage to keep the nerves down? Because obviously there's probably your phone's blowing up when you get off stage for prejudging.
Yeah.
People are like, "Oh my God, girl, you did it. You're winning your pro card. This pro card is yours." So how do you kind of temper all of that to keep yourself level, keep yourself at baseline, and then just focus on got to bring it again at finals tonight?
Yeah, so you're so right. Like after my phone was blowing up, and honestly, I just kind of usually put it on do not disturb, and I'm like, I'll look at it later. And something that I was very, very confident going into it, but I was not. I was very confident of like, okay, like in the self talk of you're gonna walk away with it, like this is yours with the self talk and that. But I'm not somebody to say it out loud until I have proof. You know what I mean? So I was like, you know what? I'm not saying it until I have it tonight, and I'm just gonna go take a nap. Like that's honestly usually what I do between prejudging and finals. I'm like, I'm gonna go take a nap. I'll touch up my hair and my makeup and like whatever, and then I'll come back for finals. But I really tried to just, especially that day, I was like, okay, like just, it's not over till it's over. We need to keep our mind right. Don't get distracted. Don't get too cocky. Don't, like, even with people like, oh, she's got it. She's got it. I'm like, until I have proof, then I can say that I got it. But until then, phone on do not disturb, stay in my zone because it's not over till it's over. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and one of the things I preach to my clients, especially when they are getting ready for a show, is keep the main thing the main thing. It is so easy to get caught up in the seduction of either criticism or praise, so much that it can throw off your attention and your ability to stay present in the moment. And so I have worked with and seen athletes who they come off stage after prejudging and they're battling for first, second, third. They get moved around a little bit. They're not quite sure where they're at. And they might have someone in their ear telling them, "Oh man, like better luck next time. Like I think that other girl beat you or that other guy beat you," or you have the opposite where they're getting moved around and their coach is telling them like, "Yeah, you got this. Like no problem. It's a for sure thing." And at the end of the day, you really don't know, right? It's
No,
completely
you
out of
never
your
know.
control. And it's so easy to get caught up in the, well, are they right? Am I doing things right? Do I need to change something? And I think that is where it can become an issue when you come off stage for prejudging. You did everything right, but then you're still looking to change something.
Right.
Right.
No, for sure. And it's like just keep doing what you're doing. Listen to your coach. Do everything that you did to get here in between the prejudging and finals. Like when it's over, it'll be over. But until then, like you still got work to do, you know?
Exactly. So now as you won your pro card, took the off season, going into 2025 with a new coach. Obviously, no, well, you had already been working with your coach.
Mhm.
What was it like getting ready for your pro debut? Did it feel like there was more pressure or the stakes were higher going through that prep?
So I'm gonna be honest. So this is a little bit different for me this year. I mean, I think everybody's got their stuff going on. This year, though, I was actually going through very beginning of this year a very bad breakup, and during this whole prep, I was actually oh, people didn't know. I didn't tell people until my prep was over. My coach didn't even know actually. Like I was just I try to keep it like I'm the athlete, just tell me what to do and I'll do it. But I was actually like sleeping on my brother's couch my whole entire prep. And yeah, I didn't have a house. I didn't have an apartment. I was living out of boxes. And yeah, so this whole prep, I was actually I didn't get into my place. I didn't get a place until May, and yeah, so I think like February until May, I was just sleeping on a couch. So definitely stressors were high, and I think that competing in oh my god, this year was so awesome though. Like I had so much fun. That's literally all I wanted in my I was like I made so many friends, had so much fun because I was like I'm giving this my all, and like I'm once again, I have no expectations. I'm going to appreciate every single moment because just because some parts of my life may be a little chaotic right now, like this is my hobby and this is supposed to be fun, and I'm going out here for data and all of these things. And so that's exactly what I did. Again, my goal this year was to get a first call out. I got that on my first try at my pro debut, and I was like, whatever happens from here, I don't care. You know what I mean? I was like, that's all I wanted. So I had a lot of fun, and that wasn't really the only like expectation I had of myself this year.
Man, what a story on resilience, right? And I
It
know
was a lot.
we hear stories of so many bodybuilders who are really going through it, especially in prep, right? And that's never fun. In the best case scenario, life is very calm, there's no chaos, and you can just be the best version of an athlete. But the fact that you were able to go through, especially for a pro debut, which for a lot of people can add a lot of pressure,
Hmm.
being able to manage that and still show up and still get a first call out, like that's so inspiring. That is
Yeah, it
so
was
inspiring.
awesome. And talking about like the pressure, I think that was like part of your, I think that was part of your original question. Talking about the pressure, I think I'm at the point now that I realize, like, especially when it comes to social media, I like a lot of people put that pressure on themselves because people are like, oh, like this and that or whatever. But honestly, I know that I could get dead last, and my people and like my supporters, they just want to see me on stage. They don't actually. If I get like a first call out or something, of course they're cheering for me. If I get last, they're still gonna cheer for me. You know, it like, and it doesn't matter if there's ever anybody like preying on my downfall or whatever it may be. They're gonna do it whether I get first or last anyway. So like, I don't know. I don't really let like social media pressure get to me just because if you really think about it's not actually real anyway. You know what I mean? Like all of social media, it's not really real. Like those people aren't here right now. They're not seeing my everyday. So like why would I let, you know? I don't know. So like I just know like my people are going to cheer for me like no matter my placing, they want to see me have fun. They just want to see me get on stage and that's what matters.
Was that something that you had to learn? Because obviously you've got a pretty sizable following, obviously. I can imagine that there were probably some growing pains in learning how to navigate social media and navigate a growing audience because, when you're first starting out and you don't really have a huge following, it doesn't really feel like anything you're doing is significant or that people are actually watching. But as that number grows and there are more people, there's obviously a lot more opinions that start to find their
Right.
way onto your posts and into your DMs and whatnot. So, was there a learning curve with managing yourself with social media as your audience grew?
Oh, for sure. And it was honestly like in my very first season. So in 2023, because I had so, mind you, again, I was very new to this. I had watched the Olympia and stuff. I knew obviously like the top dogs and stuff, but I had never been to a show, anything like that. I had never competed myself. And so I had people telling me, you're getting your pro card, like you're doing this and you're doing that in my very first season, which is so funny to look back because I genuinely, I was like, they're telling me I get my pro card. I'm getting my pro card. And then I vividly remember going to my very first national show like 3 weeks after my first like true novice debut. And vividly remember sitting backstage. I was looking at these girls and I was like, they look a lot different than me. I do not think all these people are liars on social media. So like I did let the social media pressure get to me like at some point with people like really like saying like you're gonna get your pro card, and I was like, shit, now I gotta get my pro card. But then I realized like, oh, that's just kind of their way of really believing in me. It's not actually that they're like, I don't know, like putting that pressure on me. It's just like how they're like, yeah, you're gonna do this. You know what I mean? And I think it was especially after that first national show I went to, um, it like kind of clicked to me. I was like, oh, okay, so they're saying these words, but really it's just words of encouragement, really, not actual, like, you know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense, but that's kind of what clicked to me.
Yeah, that makes total sense. Which is actually that's a really good topic. So I want to discuss that is as an athlete, how do you navigate the noise, which is what I call when people are obviously sharing their opinions because, as bodybuilders, there's a sense of wanting to stay at baseline, especially when as you're getting closer to show 6 weeks out, 4 weeks out, 3 weeks out, and people can truly see just from looking at you. There's probably times where you have full clothes on, you're fully covered up, and people know, oh, she's in prep right now and she's about to go compete. So how do you manage the noise when people are coming up to you and they're just like, "Oh my God, girl, like you're gonna win the show," and not add pressure to the process while at the same time still being very appreciative of the fact that they're trying to encourage you without adding pressure? Because I've worked with athletes before where they view that encouragement as, well, these people don't know what they're talking about, and they're just adding more noise to my plate, and it's just making things harder because they're adding to my expectations, which I am trying to have no expectations.
Yeah, so it really was, I can very much separate now, like I said, when people were saying like, oh, you're going to get your pro card. I think people like they genuinely do believe in those things, and I know that like they do think those things, but taking it in a sense of like they are just encouraging me and like excited for me and stuff. They're not actually trying to put pressure on you. Like I know that nobody's actually trying to put pressure on me. Like I know it's just words of encouragement. And like even this year they're like, "Oh, you're going to go to your Olympian your first rookie season." And I'm like, "Hell yeah, brother." Like thank you for the encouragement. But I think what really allows me not to put pressure on myself in that sense is because I am very, very realistic with myself. I have my goals, and I know that they're stepping stones to these goals. And I know that I am not there yet. I still have work to do. And I know that, like I said earlier, like I know that I'll get there. Um, but I think with me being realistic with myself is something that helps that pressure because again, it's just words of encouragement and like I know that those people will be clapping for me the entire time. Um like no matter if I win or lose and just taking it as encouragement and not pressure is something that I've had to learn on the way. But yeah, me being realistic with myself and knowing that like I am not the best there is right now and I still have work to do is something that I make sure that I use those words of encouragement of like people saying like you're going to get to the Olympia. I use that cuz I'm going to be I take it and I'm like I will one day. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. And I love the perspective on it where it's, yes, I'm going to make that true, but maybe it's not true just yet. And I think that is something that a lot of people can kind of struggle with at times where they feel like they have to be at a certain point by a certain time. And then I think that ends up manifesting itself as kind of like this I don't want to call it a toxic mindset, but I think a lot of people view the competitive mindset as, well, I have to go into every show with the expectation that I'm trying to win. But I also understand that part of the process is, you're going to get your ass handed to you a few times in bodybuilding. I don't know a single bodybuilder who has made it to the Olympia without having lost a single show ever or won in Olympia. Like
Right.
the greatest athletes we've ever heard of, Phil Heath, Ronnie Coleman, Dorian Yates, all of them have all gotten their ass kicked at some point. And it ends up becoming part of the process, right? So then how do you walk that line between keeping a competitive mindset and doing your absolute best, even going into a show where you're not expecting to win right away?
Yeah, and it's I just think about like every single show that I do like genuinely as data. Like data of like okay, like hey, we might have done a few different things this week. Let's see how it looks on stage. Let's see what the judges think. Let's see what, you know, this show compared to last show, which one was my better package, which one like looks better compared to maybe these Olympians or whatever it may be. Just going in here and like wanting to really beat what I brought last time, but also collect the data is something that's like super important because like, you know, at I believe every single show that I did this year, I was the youngest girl up there. And so understanding that like, okay, hey, I'm with there. I mean, there's top Olympians that I'm competing with. There's other girls who've been in the pro league for a long time. There's maybe girls who just recently turned pro like I did, but are older than me and have been living this lifestyle for a long time. I need to get data collected on all of these people and where I compare. You know what I mean? So not really going in with any expectation except getting that data and knowing what I can do to improve, really.
Yeah, and I think that's such an important mindset to keep of, all of these shows are just providing more data because at the end of the day, especially if you're chasing after the next show and the next show, all we're doing is just collecting this data that's going to inform the decision making process for next time. And especially as you evolve from season to season, different data points are going to be more and less important. So your body's not ever going to peak the same way twice. There's
No.
going to be there will be trends like, hey, does my body like a carb heavier load? Does my body like to load more with fats? And that can be a general rule, but the numbers are always going to change. And I think that's part of the fun of it is discovering what actually works for me.
Exactly. And like it's so interesting too because like when I whoa, sorry, I don't know if my text
You're
message
good.
just made a really loud noise. But also thinking about like as a woman, like being on my cycle like this week or like PMSing and stuff like that, like what does my body do differently and stuff. And it's just really interesting of like how each peak week really is so different. And then God, I am so excited for next year because I know next year I won't be under the stressors that I was this year, like the life stressors. And this year's prep was smooth. Like it was the best prep. My cardio only got to, I think, 4 days a week at 15 minutes. I didn't eat less than 300 carbs my whole prep. Um, like it was a very smooth prep, except my life was crazy. So next year, my life's going to be great. I'm not going to have any of those stress. I mean, maybe there will be little things here and there, but I'm very grateful for everything that happened because it just made me stronger and stuff. Um, but yeah, it's just, it's all the data. It's really every single peak week is data. Every single show is data. Everything is data. And just taking it into the next and just trying to get better to really, it is you versus you and you versus like the other people on stage. But like knowing how you can improve each show is genuinely the most fun, I think.
And I think fun is such an important aspect of this whole process. And when I look at you and I see what you're posting on social media, the main thing that I kind of get from who you are, because obviously this is our first time like formally speaking, is
Right.
that you just have so much fun in no matter what it is that you do, whether you're traveling for shows or you and Josh are out for date night or whatever it is, like it always just looks like fun is at the forefront. So how do you manage to keep fun at the forefront in a sport that typically thrives off of intensity?
Yeah, I think it really comes, I mean, it's a mindset thing, and it really is. And I think that people genuinely do forget that this is a hobby. And I know that I've said that multiple times, but it is a hobby. I'm a coach. That's my main job. And then I compete and everything. And it's like, what is the point of spending, because even like specifically, I know males are probably the same, but like as a female, what is the point of spending thousands and thousands of dollars on this and not having fun? And like, let's say I win a show and I win $1,000 back. I still spent more to get there. You know what I mean? And like, you're going to tell me I'm going to do all that and not have some fun? That's crazy. I promise you. Like, I swear, backstage, I love backstage. Like, I have so much fun backstage. It's a great time. It's genuinely a great time. I don't know. And like, I'm very competitive. I am very competitive. Like, I want to win. I want to get certain placings and stuff like that. Right now, where I'm at in my journey, I know that it is stepping stones. So that's why and this might change over time. I think my intensity in this sport will change over time as I keep climbing, but I plan to stay to my roots of remembering this shit is supposed to be fun. Everything I do, like I told myself I want to travel more. I'm going to have fun doing it, even when there is stress on show weekends. And because I mean, show weekends are very stressful when you have your athletes up there and then you got to do this and you got to do that for these athletes. And like so much is going on. But having fun in there to balance it all out is like so important.
Is that something that came naturally to you to just be having fun backstage in a competitive environment? Because I work with a lot of athletes who find it hard to separate that side of the joy in being backstage because they feel like if I'm not maintaining this ultra competitive frame, then I'm going to lose my edge and I'm going to slip up. And so that can cause them to feel very tight and kind of bound up when they're backstage. And I think it ends up robbing them of the experience of, because I mean, you and I both, we've been backstage at shows before. Like that's some of the best times you're going to have. Some of the people that I
Yeah.
still talk to today that are major components of my bodybuilding journey, like Austin Schroeder, for instance, who he's over there in Texas. I met him backstage at Texas. Sorry about that, guys. We had some technical issues, so we switched over to Zoom. But what I was saying is that, being backstage at a bodybuilding show and creating those connections and this bodybuilding ecosystem of people who live the lifestyle with you, like I was talking about my friend Austin Schroeder and his wife Sam, like me and my girlfriend love following them. So what has it been like to create those connections backstage? I know you said you made a ton of friends just this season alone doing those three shows. So what is that like?
It's awesome. Like, it's so weird because, like, I don't know, just thinking about because my work I'm so involved in all of this and like every single weekend it's bodybuilding, it's bodybuilding, it's bodybuilding, but it's not even from like okay, it's just me competing. It's like my clients competing or watching my friends compete. It's like I'm seeing the same people all the time. It would be so silly to try to act like too hard backstage and like not what I'm so serious, like just gonna make I don't know, just stick to myself and blah blah blah. I see these people every single weekend. I see them all the time. I might as well be friends with them and be cool with them. And I've literally met some of my best friends through this sport. I've met like so many connections as well, like people who I don't know, like random stuff. Like example, tomorrow I'm going to meet with a new chiropractor because we talked to them at a bodybuilding show and like made that connection. And I'm like, okay, we're gonna like we're kind of cool with these people now, and like we might all work together on something. It's there's so many different connections to lead to, and it's genuinely networking as well. And it would be silly not to do that because like whether I become best friends with somebody or just acquaintances or something like that, like we're going to see each other all the time. And you never know where even going and just talking to someone where that'll lead to. You know what I mean? And it's just, like I said, I just think it's so like silly to be the one person in the corner just trying to stick to yourself, like acting like you're too good to talk to people. I don't know. I just think that's silly.
Yeah, it's a little goofy when you see it happening in real time. You literally feel it. Like you see that person, you're just like, oh, you're trying too hard. You're not having fun right now.
Oh,
Right?
trust me, I've gone up to people like to talk to them like and it's not I'm not like obnoxious or anything like that. Like we're waiting in line to pump up and all I remember I remember asking this one girl, I'm like, "Oh yeah, are you excited to go are you excited to go up on stage?" Like I knew it was her first show of the year and like it was my first show of the year, like all these things. And she's like, "Yeah, I'm really excited about this lineup. I know I'm gonna do good." Like just straight face. And I was like, yeah, you are. Yeah. Okay. Like, go get them, girl. Like, it was just like, I don't know. Just I was just like, okay, like, got it. I'll talk to somebody else. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's funny. What is it like for you when you get on stage? Is there anything you're trying to embody? And this is actually a conversation I had with Gemma Nanista, who
Mhm.
I'm sure you're probably familiar with her.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but I was so curious because obviously for male bodybuilders, I think there's a spectrum of what we're trying to embody on stage. So you see like the bodybuilders who they come out to the heavy rock and they're posing full of life and they're very intense with how they're hitting like a most muscular and they've got Metallica playing in the background. And then on the opposite side, you'll see a classic competitor come out and they've got classical music. It's very dramatic, it's very artistic. So what is what is the type of competitor you are trying to embody when you are on stage?
It's all about confidence. Like, honestly, if you play any sort of Pussycat Dolls and listen to that song, like that's the aura I'm trying to give when I go on stage. Like, honestly, it's just that confidence and like that, like honestly, it's so corny. That just that bad bitch energy. Like, this is what you worked for. You know what I mean? I'm gonna go out there. I'm gonna show it off. And like when you go out on that stage, even though like I've talked about this whole podcast, like I know I'm not there yet, but going out on that stage and being like, I'm there. I'm there. You know what I mean? And really bringing that confidence and having fun with it. That's what I really try to bring. Just bringing that like pussycat doll aura. That's what I really. That's the best way to say it. Just that confidence, you know.
Uh, that pussycat doll aura. I feel like you need to trademark that.
Yeah, I mean, I think I did. You know,
You heard it here first. Nobody can
but
steal that.
like pussycat dolls. Tell me, as a man, play that song and tell me it doesn't make you feel confident. You know,
I would probably start dancing around right now in the living room if I did.
I mean, you would. It's just that aura. That's exactly what you got to bring on stage. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. So then obviously this season was very different from the previous season. And obviously congrats on the new relationship. It's been awesome seeing how happy you guys are. Again,
Dude,
it
I
looks
could
like
go
you guys
on
are just
and on.
it looks like you
Like,
guys are just having fun.
no, like I'm not even like genuinely. That's my soulmate. Like that's
Mhm.
my soulmate. Like I know it. Like I've never. It's just we are the same person. We do the same thing. We are together 24/7, and I don't say that in like a weird like controlling way or anything like that. It's like a way of like why wouldn't I want to be with him? That's my best friend. That's my person. That's like I love him. Like, of course I want to be with him 24/7. We do everything together. We're such a team. And it's so easy with him. It's so easy and it's so much fun too. Like, man, I'm telling you, I have never laughed with somebody like how I laugh with him. I'm talking tears, crying, laughing, and it's all the time. It's not just like every few months, like like we have a really good belly laugh. I'm talking it's damn near every night I'm crying laughing because we're just having so much fun and it's just so easy with him. It's so easy to talk about to like if there is a hard conversation we need to have, it's easy to be open with one another and talk through it. It's easy to have fun even in stressful times and things like that. It's just easy and I love being with them and love doing everything that we're doing together like when it comes to coaching and when it comes to competing myself and like all of these things like it's just fun. It's just easy.
How do you guys balance operating and executing at a very high level? Because obviously he has a very successful coaching business. You have a very successful coaching business as well. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe you are one of the Wolfpack coaches now as well.
Yeah, we just combined because it just made sense too. Yeah.
How do you guys balance that high level execution with also having fun and making time and space for, you know, relaxation and being able to pull back?
So I think that a lot of people would see what we do and they would think that there is no balance, but it's just we're doing what we love. You know what I mean? Like going to these shows, it's not hard when you love it. It's not hard doing all of this travel because last so I moved to Tampa like the first week of May, and I've only been home for 1 week, like one full week since now. Yeah. And I just got home today. Like I said, I got home 15 minutes before this podcast. It's Monday. I leave Wednesday to go out to Arizona for like one of my best friends who I actually met through bodybuilding. One of her bachelorette parties. I get home. Sorry, this is crazy. I'll get back on the topic in just a second. I get home on Sunday.
Mhm.
I'll be Sunday evening, be home Monday. Tuesday, we leave to go to another show, and we're going to kind of be there for a few days. Saturday is the show. We have to drive back Saturday night. Sunday, and this is our balance, okay? Sunday, we're leaving for Hawaii for 10 days. And that is the one time we're having a vacation. We're actually going to be like turning off the phones and everything like that. And that's going to be our mid-season balance before we finish out the rest of the year, before it's time for me to hop back in prep. And yeah, but like I think something that really helps like our in-season balance is like at the end of the day, after the show's over, we have us time.
Hmm.
You know, whether that's us going to dinner or just going to the hotel room, watching a movie, and going to sleep. We were at USA's in Vegas, and we literally did the show. We were so exhausted. We told our clients, like, we love you guys. You know, we got some pro cards that weekend. You guys go celebrate. We got steak and shake, and we went to the room and watched Forrest Gump. Like, that's what we did because that's what we needed. But that was us time. Like, we turned off the phones and it was just us because that's how we have balance is like we do our job. And then at the end of the night, we're starting the day together. We're ending the day together. So that's what we really do to balance it all.
And I'm sure that you guys living very congruent lives where you have coaching and you're both so immersed in bodybuilding helps to encourage you guys to, stay together in the thick of it, especially on those super stressful show weekends. And I'm sure you guys probably lean on each other a lot where it's like if he has an issue with the client, he might come to you and be like, "Hey, here's what I'm facing right now. Like, let me get some perspective." Or you might have the same thing where you're just like, "Hey, here's what I'm dealing with, or here's the problem set that I'm trying to think my way through. How would you deal with this?" And it becomes a joint venture through which you guys are problem solving and exploring solutions, etc. If you were to give some advice to the people who don't necessarily have a partner who lives this full time, but they still need to make time for that connection. So one of them is a full-time bodybuilder. They're in the thick of it. Maybe they coach as well, and their partner doesn't. How would you recommend them to continue to make time for that connection and really just continue to pour back into the relationship?
Yeah, and it's something when it comes to like when we're talking about somebody who competes and their partner doesn't, and if they're in the thick of prep and stuff like that, remembering that your partner did not force you to do all of that. You know, that was your choice, not your partner's. Your partner does not have to do all of the things that you do. Just because you have all meal prep doesn't mean your partner has to do that. Just because you have to wake up early and go to the gym to do your cardio doesn't mean your partner has to do that. And it doesn't mean that you have to miss out on things either. There's so many dates that you can still go on in prep. And like saying that you can't do something with your partner is literally an excuse. It's literally an excuse. You can still go to one of my favorite date nights in prep is going to the movies. You can
Mhm.
bring your meal prep to movies, get a big purse, put your meal prep in there. You know, drink
That
about
goes for men too. Bring a big purse,
big,
fellas.
big purse. Um, you know, get your girl a big purse, make her put the food in there, you know.
Yeah, there you
But
go.
like there's so many like that's a date night, going on a walk together, like sitting down, like even just eating a meal together, turning off the phones and talking. You know what I mean? Playing board game. There's so many dates that you can do. And like also, if you can set aside time to do your cardio and do your meal prep and stuff like that, you can set aside time for your partner just to talk to them. Like, I think that's so important. Like, a lot of these people in relationships, um, they don't actually talk to each other. Like, they don't talk about even the hard things. They don't talk about, I, you know, and when it comes to relationships, sorry, this might put me on a tangent, not trying to, but like when it comes to relationships, like the most important thing about your partner isn't what their favorite color is. You know what I mean? Like learn about your partner, set aside time for that. And you can do that in prep, even if you're tired and stuff. And, you know, there might be days where, you know, it is harder than others, but there's still days that you can set aside that time and make sure that they still feel important no matter how that is, even if that's like I know that some people in prep they feel weird about like physical touch and stuff. They don't want their partner to touch them and like hold hands or anything like that. But again, you chose this, not your partner. Suck it up and hold their hand. Like that's so lame to like, oh, I don't want to be touched right now. hold their freaking hand. What's wrong with you? You know what I mean? Like little things like that. It's just like, again, goes back to this is a hobby. That person is like your part of your life. It's very, very important. So that's kind of what I think about that. It's like just remembering what's truly, truly important and making time for that.
Yeah, and I think that to kind of sum that all up, it's really just being intentional about connection. And whatever connection looks like is obviously going to be different. Like you said, there's going to be times where, especially towards the end of prep, maybe the physicality isn't going to be the same way it is when you're in the off season and everything feels great. But there are other ways to embrace connection, even if it's just like sitting on the couch, holding hands, snuggling up a little bit. I always remember when I was going through prep, and this is back in end of 2024, and my girlfriend and I, we had just started dating, and we made sure that on my rest days, because I only had, at the time, I only had a cardio session to do on my rest days, we would go have coffee in the morning before we'd go to work. And that meant we'd have to wake up early, and that was a sacrifice of waking up early, but we wanted to make sure that we had a routine in place where, every week we had a specific date morning set aside. And yeah, I can't eat food, but I'd still take her out and still make sure she would go eat something good. And sometimes like you just got to sit there with a Diet Coke and a smile on your face. And that's totally
Exactly.
fine.
Exactly. And
And
like,
that's,
yeah, and in my head too, like, you just said like, oh, wake up early. Like, some people consider that a sacrifice, but it's like, well, if it's helping your relationship, is it really a sacrifice? I don't think that's a sacrifice. You know what I mean?
you know,
So I
and
don't.
and that's the thing too, is like if you want to be a good bodybuilder, you have to have your life in order, because those things that are not in order or not in alignment or pushing you, encouraging you towards that ultimate goal are ultimately just going to drag you down. And so, one of my good friends, his name's Joe Percher, he always says a stressed bodybuilder is a bad bodybuilder. And so, obviously, like relationships are one of those things that they can become very stressful if you are not nurturing them. So you need to be
Right.
very intentional about nurturing those relationships and nurturing all the things going on in your life, because those are the things that are ultimately going to set you up, one, to be a good bodybuilder, but then they're going to be the same things that sustain you after you are done bodybuilding. And I think that's the more important thing.
Yeah, and like you got to remember, like the average person who is competing, or even like a pro, and like all of these things too. Like, let's say your longest prep is you're in prep for 5 6 months. Okay, so you're gonna make your partner's life like make all these sacrifices and like not enjoy time with them. Well, what are you gonna do for the rest of the year? Because like you got to play catch up now and try to make them feel important, because for 6 months you just made them feel like shit. You
Mhm.
know. So I definitely agree with that. Like if you're creating chaos in that part of your life, it's gonna show.
Yeah. Last question for you is, what are you most excited about leading into this next season from a mental standpoint and the growth that you've seen in yourself so far?
Oh man, I am so excited for I say it every day. I am so excited for this next prep, just because this year I have grown mentally more than I ever have in my life. I have proved to myself that like, even when life is chaotic, I can still do this. I can still do this. I can still, you know, get through those things, because for a long time I was just pushing things back. Oh, I'll deal with it later. I'll deal with it later. No, this time I got through them while it was happening. And just knowing that like, okay, well, if I can handle that, then I can do anything. And knowing that I'm in such a better life situation going into this next prep, and like I'm in such a good supportive relationship. I have so many great friends. I'm in a completely different environment. It's just like how I said earlier, when I got my pro card, like there was no question. Like I knew it was going to happen. I know that this next prep will be my best prep that I've ever had in my life. That's not a question. I know it's happening. Like it's just such a solidified feeling. And Whether that's gonna show on stage and I'll do really well, I don't know. I have a feeling it will. I I have a strong feeling it will, but knowing that like I just know that this next prep is going to be the best I've ever had because I went through all those hardships and I got through on the other side, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm very
Man,
excited.
that is so exciting. And I'm really excited to continue watching your guys' progress, not only or your progress as an athlete, but also you and Josh's progress as coaches. Because I think that you guys are building up such an incredible team of not only athletes, but also other coaches with you guys, that I think has a really high ceiling in terms of potential. And like I see the athletes you guys are putting on stage every weekend. Like you guys are resharing their posts, and I'm just like those athletes are coming in dangerous. So it is really cool to see that you were able to operate at a high level both as an athlete and as a coach.
Yeah, and the great thing about, because we're always talking about like what how can we be different? Like what are we bringing to the table that's different? And I think something that's different with our athletes and what we are building versus some out there. Of course, there's so many great teams and coaches and athletes and like we're friends with a lot of these people and like support them, they support us, it's great. We are really trying to build that like family aspect. And I think with our clients, it really shows like, of course, we want to win, but we want these girls and these guys to have fun and feel supported. That's like our number one goal, and the wins will come. The wins will come. And I think that's like the main thing that we have different than some of these other teams and stuff out here is just the family aspect and wanting to grow in that way as along with winning too. So I'm really excited for the rest of this year. We have some big things coming. We have a lot of shows coming up too. This past weekend was awesome. And it's just going to keep on going from there. And I think just with all of us supporting each other, with the coaches supporting each other, with the athletes, like my athletes support Josh's athletes, they're starting to become their real life friends too. Like it's just awesome what we're building over here. And so I'm super excited to see that grow. And see everything that comes next year when it comes to coaching and prep and everything like that too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're leading from the front, and I think that is such an admirable trait. When I view coaches who are doing it at a high level, both as a coach and as an athlete, and like I said, it's super exciting to see what you guys are building. So I will definitely keep on paying attention, and hopefully some other people will also pay attention and hopefully incorporate some of what makes you guys so successful into their own practice. And it just, I think it makes the entire bodybuilding space a much better place. But I wanted to thank you for your time, for coming on to the Winning the Margins podcast with me today and just kind of discussing the mental game and what allows you to operate at such a high level. Is there anything you want to close out with before I let you go?
Um, Honestly, just thank you so much for having me on here. I didn't really know what to expect. I knew we were going to be talking about mindset, and I know that sometimes I can go on and on about certain things because, like, I'm just so passionate about all of this. But I'm really just grateful to be here. And I think if anybody takes anything from this podcast and anything that I said, it really is expect nothing, appreciate everything, no matter where you're at in your journey, whether you are about to do your very first show, whether you're just doing a cut, like not even bodybuilding, or whether you are going into your freaking fifth pro season or anything like that. Just expect nothing, appreciate everything. You can be competitive, but you can have fun at the same time. And I think that's just so important to remember. So that's all I really got. But I really appreciate being on here and being able to chat with you today.
Man. Well, you guys heard it from Martina McKee here first. Expect nothing, appreciate everything. Go find her on Instagram, YouTube. I know she's bringing back the YouTube, TikTok, etc. Mars
Right.
Muscles. But again, thank you for coming on here today and just having this chat with me. I think people are going to take a lot of really good points from this. So, for those of you guys watching, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Winning the Margins podcast. We are out of here.
Bye.